Hi everyone, this is Ms. Ta here, the school counselor intern at Northside College Prep. Thanks for joining me for the final session of my three-part webinar series on the importance of developing a growth mindset. Remember, a growth mindset is the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Remember, they count twice. Your strategies, try a different key if it doesn't work, as well as help from others, a sign of growth and maturity, not weakness. And hopefully by now you've started incorporating the power of yet into some of your classes and in life. Remember, break that old tape recorder in your head and set yourself free to your own success. We also talked about grit, the passion and perseverance for long-term goals. If life is like a race, you have to run it not as a sprint, but as a marathon. Today, I want to talk about mindfulness. I know it's kind of a buzzword right now, and rightfully so. Mindfulness is essentially our superhero power to help us actually become smarter and make our brains grow. Seriously. Scientific research has shown that mindfulness actually has neurological benefits to our brain, such as the amygdala, which is responsible for our fear, stress, and anxiety, which tend to get larger when there's prolonged fear and stress and anxiety. With mindfulness, the amygdala can actually grow smaller. In terms of the hippocampus, with mindfulness, this helps us with our memory and learning, which helps increase the cortical thickness of the hippocampus, which works against fighting dementia and Alzheimer's. How cool is that? In this short video, the narrator talks more about why mindfulness is a superpower. Let's watch.
You may have heard this word mindfulness. It's become something of a buzz phrase of late. I'm going to give you one simple, serviceable definition, which is this. Mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at any given moment without getting carried away by it. Imagine how useful this could be. Just as an example, driving down the road and somebody cuts you off in traffic. How do you normally react? I think most of us, we normally react by having a thought, which is, I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You immediately, habitually, reflexively inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed. There's no buffer between the stimulus and your reaction. With just a little bit of mindfulness, in that same situation, you might notice my chest is buzzing, my ears are turning red, I'm having a starburst of self-righteous thoughts, I'm getting angry. But you don't necessarily have to act on it and chase that person down the road, screaming at them with your kids in the back of the car thinking you've gone nuts. Now, you might be thinking, don't I need to get angry sometimes? Aren't I justified? I would say yes, but probably not as much as you think. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition is that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen to you, rather than just reacting blindly. And that, my friends, is a superpower. How do you get it? The way to get it is through meditation. I believe that meditation and mindfulness are the next big public health revolution. In the 1940s, if you told somebody you were going running, they would have said, who's chasing you? But then what happened next? The scientists swooped in, they showed that physical exercise is really good for you, and now all of us do it, and if we don't, we feel guilty about it. And that's where I think we're headed with mindfulness and meditation. It's going to join the pantheon of no-brainers like brushing your teeth, eating well, and taking the meds your doctor prescribed for you. Let me just close by saying, mindfulness is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to render your life a nonstop parade of unicorns and rainbows. Nonetheless, this is a superpower, and one that is accessible by you immediately.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. So once again, mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at any given moment without getting carried away by it. This is really helpful when panic or fear sets in when we get a bad grade. Rather than get stressed or angry, we are able to take a step back, recognize that this failure does not define us, but that we can overcome it with additional work, getting extra help, and trying a different strategy. There are lots of different websites and apps out there that provide easy to follow guided meditations to help be mindful. Remember, practicing mindfulness is not as easy as it sounds, with so many distractions and things vying for your attention. Practicing mindfulness is your superpower. Use it to grow your brain. Speaking of brain, let's take a quick look at it. Did you know that your brain has 100 billion brain cells called neurons? These neurons are what make it possible for us to think, feel, and remember. Neuroplasticity is what makes it possible for our brain to grow stronger and smarter. Every time we learn something new, reinforce it, practice and working out the problems, they actually help reinforce those pathways that our neurons use to send messages to one another through the synapse. The stronger the path, the quicker and easier we're able to solve and overcome challenges. Did you just think of that tightrope bridge analogy? Me too. When we practice, study, or learn new skills, we are essentially strengthening the neural bonds from that tightrope and transforming it to a bridge. And essentially, we are getting smarter. There are other ways we can keep our mind fit that's just as important as learning, as you can see in this infographic. Our physical, mental, and emotional bodies are all connected to our brain. And ensuring we are mindful of each of their needs is important to maintaining a healthy and growing brain. So as I come to an end, I want to reinforce the importance of replacing those old tape recorders in our heads with thoughts that will help you stay the course, embrace challenges, roll up your sleeves, and learn from those mistakes and setbacks. Remember, failures don't define who we are. They are a part of life, and even though we may face disappointments in life, always remember the power of yet. Thank you so much for joining me. This is not the end, but the beginning of your journey with a growth mindset. I hope you will continue to use what you've learned today, and remember, keep growing. Thank you and have a good day.